Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to another action-packed episode of Mr. J's Big Book of Movies, where my quest is to find the best movies in the land to put into my Big Book of Movies. What does it take to get into the Big Book of Movies? That's what we do here every weekend to find out. As of the recording to this telecast, we are so close to Halloween. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a Halloween month. Taking movies that I've never seen before, challenging them to see if they could get into the Big Book of Movies. And this week, we're doing a movie I've never seen before, Hellraiser. But that movie was dumb as shit, so we're going to switch tracks and go all the way to Amityville in the Amityville Horror. The Amityville Horror was released July 27th, 1979, and was directed by Stuart Rosenberg. IMDb states that newlyweds move into a large house where a mass murder was committed and experience strange manifestations which drive them away. That is 100% true. That is true to the fact. I have no problem with that premise. So let's get things started. Starting at the top, I'm going with the rewatch factor. Now, there's two scores once again for the rewatch factor. For the first timers who have never seen this movie at all, this is made in 1979. So there's not going to be that great of special effects. So if you have no knowledge of this movie and you're watching it for the first time, I would give it a 3. Which means when it comes on TV, it's something that you would watch. It's a little long, so it might be edited in, but for those who have seen it and know about it and are educated on it, I give, and this is what I personally give, the rewatch factor being a 4. I feel it's one of those movies where you watch it, you're going to love it, you're going to love it for the rest of your life. I think it's one of the greatest independent films of all time, topping that of even Night of the Living Dead. And we all know how that influenced Hollywood. And I just think that so much of it, the whole controversy, if this is a true story, if it is not, that helps with it. So I definitely give rewatch factor a score of a 4. Next up, we have storyline. And I'm going to go all the way and give storyline a 5. Now, from the events that happened in Amityville to the book and to the movie, it's less than a 5-year gap. So this just happened. This was still fresh in the minds of people. And there's a lot that was changed for Hollywood. And yes, there's the skeptics that say, hey, this never happened in the first place. But this did a damn good job of making you think something went down in that house. I mean, even though current owners of the house went as far as replacing the 2 eye windows so they could have people backing the fuck up off their house. So I will go as far as saying storyline, I'm giving that shit a 5. Characters, now, here's where the lesser of it goes. I give characters a 3, middle of the road. I'm not handing out Oscars on this, but remember, this is a horror movie. So horror movies aren't really about the acting, it's about the events. So with that, I'm only going to give characters a 3, and I feel that's very fair. Once again, with appearance, I give a 3. This was a product of its time. It looks like it was made in the 70s. It was made in the 70s. And it still looks like it was made in the 70s. So I'm going to give appearance a 3. But with the original 1979 version, I'm going to go all the way and just give it a 3. Because it was more the incidences that was going on and not really the appearance of it. And it looked hokey. It was made in the 70s, so come on, I feel appearance being a 3 is adequate. Finally, we have enjoyment. This movie is 2 years older than me, and it's still talked about like it was made last year. The storyline and everything attached with this movie, all the spin-offs, it's magical. I give enjoyment a 5. You want your movie to have the attention like this. Is it real? Is it not real? I mean, the only movie I can remember that drew this much controversy is the Blair Witch Project. Is it real? Is it not? Oh, but it was a 100% hoax. But people still thought it was real after it was told, and the actors of the movie came out and were like, yes, it's a hoax. But it was just beautiful how they did that. And with Amityville, with the Lutz family going on television, going on talk shows and whatnot, and then totally falling out of the limelight. Some of the controversy is the fact that the family wanted all this to happen. They faked this all, and they did it for financial reasons, but they really didn't get rich off of this incident. And also, they ducked out of the limelight because they were tired of people following them around. So there's no real ironclad proof if it happened, and there's no real ironclad proof if it didn't. But I know there's a certain documentary that I watched that interviewed one of the children, and they said they sure as hell ain't got no plans of entering that house. They'll take a picture outside the house, or they wasn't going in. So definitely enjoyment a 5. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are done with the 5 categories. And what those 5 categories do is we add those up because they equal a score. And that score equals a grade. And here's the breakdown. Starting at the top, we have the rewatch factor receiving a 4. We have the storyline receiving a 5. We have the characters receiving a 3. We have the appearance receiving a 3. And we have the enjoyment receiving a 5. Altogether, that is a score of a 20, and that 20 equals a B. That's an awesome movie. And for an independent movie, this was great. I would like to have seen it receive an A, but I don't know where I would have given that extra point. But we're not here about the score. We're here to see if Amityville Horror gets into the big book of movies. And my synopsis, my diagnosis is this. You're damn right it gets in. This movie will always be on the top of horror movie films. I don't care until 2,999. This is a fucking masterpiece. And those who think differently, you must be watching a different movie than I am. Well, that's going to wrap up the time here on Mr. J's Big Book of Movies. Don't forget, you can catch me here every Saturday. Yes, I know I've been slacking on the Saturdays, and I've been, producing my shows on Sundays. I apologize for that. There's some things going on at home, but I'm going to do better, busting my ass getting these done on Saturday. So, yes, my shows come out on Saturday. Catch my podcast, Eye for an Eye with Mr. J. That comes out every Tuesday and Thursday. You can catch that on Apple Podcast, Google Play, and Stitcher. You can catch out our Facebook fan page. That is at I for Mr. J. You can catch our Twitter page. That is at Eye for an Eye, spelled just like the podcast. You can email me anytime, anywhere, mws_216@yahoo.com. And the most importantly of all, below, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. You make this podcast happen. And as far as I'm concerned, this chapter is now closed.